Hello and welcome to another top 5 video for Horror Fest 2018, and I thought I'd take the time to pick what I feel, for me personally, are the top 5 actual scary movies. Movies that actually scared me when I was watching them through. Maybe be it as I was a kid, or even all the way up to today. Again, these are my own personal opinions. These are what I think, and this isn't meant to ruffle anyone's feathers. These are my top 5 favorite and actual scary movies, according to my opinions. Number 5, controversial opinion. We're going to start right away from the beginning here. Paranormal Activity. Yes, the original Paranormal Activity scared the hell out of me when I saw it the first time. It was such a well done thing that you couldn't do in 2018. Back when it came out in 2007, it was a great found footage movie, kind of in the same vein as the Blair Witch Project. And yeah, I knew going in, these are just actors, but it struck such a chord with me when I saw it. And there's a lot of unknown, and it's so well done for the small budget that it has. And yes, I do recommend seeing all the different alternate endings, because I think for the most part they're pretty good. There's one that's kind of shitty. Scared the hell out of me, just from the different things that they do in that movie, from throwing the dust on the ground and seeing that thing's hoof prints, and the Ouija board in the room that's on fire. And then who can forget the very end of that movie when that girl goes downstairs and just starts screaming. Awesome movie, incredibly creepy, incredibly scary. Number 5 on my list. Number 4 on my list is going to be another horror classic, and that is the original Exorcist. The original Exorcist, still to this day, is a scary as hell movie. It's the way that that movie was filmed, it's the way that it's presented, it's all the special effects, everything. You have to remember, this is a movie that was released in the early 70s, and at the time that this movie came out, it sent people leaving the theater. People were throwing up in the theater. It scared the shit out of the public in a way that I don't think we'll ever see for a movie ever again. And even still to this day, well, yes, I know a lot of people out there be like, oh, it's not that scary, blah, blah, blah. It's still a pretty and really damn effective horror movie, and that's number 4 on my list. Number 3 I put on my list for one specific reason, and that is there is one scene in this movie that even still to this day I cannot watch. Part of it is because in real life I could watch pretty much any horror movie and see buckets of blood thrown around and it doesn't bother me. In real life I'm an incredible pansy. I cannot even look at the sight of my own blood, much less than a drop. So if I go in and I get, blood drawn or something, I pass out. For whatever reason, this movie, there is one scene in it I cannot watch because of blood. I don't know why. It scared me as a kid. It still to this day creeps the hell out of me. And that is 1992's Bram Stoker's Dracula. Now, Bram Stoker's Dracula, one of my favorite movies of all time, but the scene in which the main character's friend, after she's become a vampire, is running around and snatching up children, and the band of hunters go to meet her in the cemetery, and she throws up all that blood. That still gets to me even to this day. I don't know why, but it does. That's what solidifies this as number 3 on my list. Number 2 on my list is going to be something a little more recent that I think a lot of people overlooked, and well, I will say that it is a collection of found footage horror stories, and I don't think everything in the movie works. There is one specific story in the beginning and one at the end of this movie that kind of bookends it, and I think they're both impactful enough that it makes it really creepy, and that is the original VHS from 2012. The first story involving the girl that this group of kids pick up at a bar that they're going to do some very, very bad and nefarious stuff with, and they end up getting what they deserve, still to this day sends chills down my spine. Just thinking about how that girl looks in the bar and how creepy and off-kilter she is, and then remembering what exactly happens there. And then I think the end story where this group of teenage kids goes into this haunted house just to kind of look it around, and they kind of discover some crazy shit going on. At the time, and I have not watched it in a couple of years now, there's some really crazy shit going on still to this day. And I think those two stories combine into making a really impactful movie. There's a story kind of in the middle of that movie that just falls apart, But if you can make it through that, I think those two stories from the beginning and the end of VHS really, really make it a truly terrifying experience. And finally, number 1 on this list, you guys saw my video review of it earlier this month in Horror Fest. That is 2018's Hereditary. I think right now, for me personally, it is the scariest movie I've seen in a while. It's not a scary, throw your blanket over your head, throw your hands in front of your eyes type of movie. It is scary in the way that you think about what happened to these people. You think about what this family goes through in that movie, and it's done in such an effective way that I haven't seen in other horror movies, where I actually really thought that this stuff was happening to this family. It's incredibly realistic. The things that I'll point out here, and again, these are spoilers for this movie, so if you don't want to know anything else, turn this video off now. But the seance scene where they're trying to bring up the dead daughter, I think is so incredibly terrifying. In a way that I've never seen in a seance scene in any other movie. And I think obviously the very end of this movie, that last 10 minutes where the mother is possessed and she's crawling around on the walls in this house, I think it's the way it's shot, it's the way it looks, it's incredible. And it's such a great payoff for a slow burn of a movie. And I cannot stress highly enough how good Hereditary is. I know it's a controversial decision. I do know there are people that have seen the movie that hated it. It's not a movie for everyone. And if I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you're religious in any way, it's a movie that will piss you off at the end of it. But I think it's an impactful and important horror movie. And I think it is the best horror movie of 2018, and probably the best horror movie I've seen in the last 10 years. So those are my top 5 actual scary movies. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below. What are your favorite actual scary movies? Let me know. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.